Welcome to Shepherd's Coffee Talk. Kathie Donovan and I have a very, very special guest.
One of our dearest friends, really. You could say Leanne Cusack, who is the co-host and superstar of CTV Ottawa's News at Noon. Leanne you've been on that show. I'm going to say you grew up on that show.
100 years. Pretty well, 100 years.
How many years, really? How many?
On the News at Noon, 22, I believe. 20, maybe.
That's amazing.
Maybe
in today's
25. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
See, that's
You're
what happens.
it a little
yeah,
bit.
It could be.
But that's amazing in today's day and age with broadcasting.
It is.
It's been a privilege, honestly. It's a treat for me because it's live, and these gals were teasing before we went live that people love bloopers, and that's what live television is. It's like a blooper every day. You never know what's going to happen. And we've had some of that fun together.
You learn to recover from bloopers really graciously, and that, I feel, is really one of the skills you have, Leanne. This girl knows how to pivot on a dime, to turn a situation around, to make it beautiful for the viewers. That's something I've always admired. You have so many skills that you probably don't even recognize that you use every day. One thing I remember very clearly was seeing Leanne at a fire station interviewing a big long line of people, and she knew every single one of their names as she went down the line. There must have been 12.
Well, they were firefighters, Kathy.
She has a calendar.
No, actually, my co-host Michael O'Byrne will tease. He says, "How do you remember names like that?" And it's kind of just some sort of association with the person. But then in the grocery store, it's the test when someone will come up to me after the fact and say, "You interviewed me in 1997, and if you can come up with the name, then that's something."
I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, but in the moment, and that's your job. It's just it's really impressive to see how. I don't even think you realize how skilled you are because you're so focused in the moment. But let's talk about what goes on to make that show happen, because, you know, television, live television looks so easy. And when it looks so easy, that's because you've done all the heavy lifting to make it look so. So talk about your job, how you organize that, and of course the big team you have to help you.
I'd love to say that I'm a Virgo and that I have a spreadsheet and that we have a very organized office and that we have a tremendous staff. We do, but they're all focused on their other things. For the News at Noon, it's really organic. Is that a great way to describe it? Yeah. There are certain events you're looking forward to promoting, or causes and organizations, and you are both so powerful in that realm. But it can happen this way. Someone can stop you on the street and say, "Hey, did you know about?" And then you think, no, I didn't. That may happen next Thursday at noon. We may be able to share a profile or tell a story. There are certain, aspects that are regular features, certain guests who are regular features. Oftentimes in the fall, we invite Marlene on to promote some fall fashion. When you have an exciting event, we like to, shine a light on that. It's a thrill, though. I'm lucky.
But in today's day and age, when they talk about, fake news and local news is sort of, getting lost, it's wonderful to have this local TV show 5 days a week where you can really go out into the community. And isn't it nice that people can kind of knock on your door and you're open to featuring them? I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, Marlene, you said that really well, in that it's all about community. We're so lucky. This is such a special place to live, such a special place to work. And as for fake news, everything's real.
Well, everything's real. And what I love is, in this conversation about fake news, this is authenticity right beside me. People always say, "Is Leanne like that when she's not on television?" Absolutely. To drive all of us a little bit cuckoo sometimes, because she's a little like a hummingbird, but it's all good, and we love her just the way she is.
You're not very comfortable, are you? You're so used to interviewing people.
Very vulnerable.
Yeah, good.
Especially because they're both pretending that broadcasting is not their métier. Au contraire.
She used the word métier. Did
both
you
of these women were born broadcasters. Did you know that Marlene started at CFRA?
Oh, come on. We're not going back that far.
And Kathie's first broadcasting gig was when she was about 7 years old in New Brunswick, correct?
During the weather.
See what I mean about having that incredible
See, she turns
memory?
it right around.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
Okay.
Hey, let's talk about, because, this is a very full life as an on-air personality, as basically a producer of your segments each day. It's very consuming. I know from doing Regional Contact, it was always part of my life. Even on weekends, I was thinking about what were we doing next week. but you have to have something that fills your tank, fills you up. And I know your private life is your private life and is very fulfilling, but you also have started kind of exploring your creativity in a new way. Talk about that.
It's been really fun, and you've both been incredibly supportive. I started painting, oil painting, I guess, maybe 5 years ago. I'm terrible at math, and the time frame is really off. But I started just taking some lessons from Gordon Harrison, who's a landscape painter I adore and a dear friend as well. And so I found in those lessons that you could just completely escape and think about color, think about spaces, think about a feeling. And the nicest reaction that I've received is that people say my art makes them happy, makes them feel joyous, and to know that pieces are in other people's homes, and
it's in my cottage,
and that it makes them feel something is really a thrill.
I love the fact that at one of Leanne's art shows, a woman said, "I'm going to hang this in my cottage. I wish you could see where I'm going to put this piece." Because really, what we did on Regional was featured tons of artists, and I always recognized what people are looking for is a piece of the artist to take with them. And Leanne's joy is in every single one of her pieces. Talk about what you paint, the subject matter, where you get your inspiration.
It's sort of a mix. I'm from Nova Scotia, so there's a little bit of an East Coast feel, I think, for many of the pieces. I live in Chelsea, so it's very easy to be inspired by
nature,
that landscape. This summer I worked on 2 smaller canvases, and if anyone's ever been through the Meech Valley, they'll recognize that scene. I've done everything sort of from East Coast fishing boats. That was a piece that my parents had kind of asked me to paint, but a lot of meadows. Just kind of floral explosions of color in meadows, painting the chicory and the brown-eyed Susans, and I love Queen Anne's lace. And not very many people have painted it, and I don't paint it very specifically. It's very abstract in the feeling, but I love that because it's the most tenacious flower, and it's so delicate and so beautiful, but it grows virtually out of gravel and ditches. So
gee, that sounds like an analogy for something. Wait a minute. kidding.
So it's been really fun, and what's so odd, you both know me really well, and to call me a hummingbird, I do. I eat all the time and I move all the time, and painting slows me down. I will actually just kind of go downstairs to my studio and stand there for about 10 hours painting, and I won't think about food, and I'm still.
I've often heard that about painters. They just get lost in the moment. And how you can rejuvenate with that. That's wonderful.
Yeah. But that being in the moment is what really fills us, fills our tank. We have to get quiet somehow. We really do if we're going to be filled up in order to give again and keep giving. So I'm so proud of you for taking this on, because I've watched Leanne's interest in art and painting over the years, really attracted, like super attracted to it. And then you realize that's because it's in me to do too. So congratulations on that.
You said that so beautifully, both of you. And I think that whatever it is, whether cooking is your outlet for creativity, fashion, your outlet for creativity, building others up. I mean, all of these pursuits are creative, and I think it's important to find that.
But interesting, you've had a wonderful career. You have a wonderful career, but you're getting ready for another chapter.
Know. Yeah.
And how long have you been painting? Like, you said 5 years, but does this go back to primary school, or did you always have this interest?
This is comical in that going home to visit my mom and dad in Nova Scotia, I would find little paintings on rocks, Peggy's Cove on a rock, and I did something for the show many years ago, sort of, I think, in the mid-90s. And I looked at it, and it was when painting on dishes was really style.
Yeah.
And I found a piece, and I thought, that's kind of fun.
Right.
And so it maybe has went to
dormant for a little while, right?
It's
and
a
it just
thread.
came to life.
And that's what they say, look for the thing you did as a kid that gave you joy, and get back to it, because that's where your joy is. It's just waiting for you to discover again.
So does that mean Highland Fling should be another pursuit?
Oh, I'd love to see that.
No.
I'd love to see that. I bet you're really good at that too. Anyway, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being with us and sharing your joy, because Can't you just
are.
feel
You're
it?
a very joyful person, and it radiates, and it affects everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you for being such a wonderful person. You are as beautiful inside as you are outside, and truly, she is.
Yep.
So anyway, enough of that. Thank you.
Cheers. Going to make me cry on my Joseph Ribkoff dress.
Cheers to you.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
your
guys.
day. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
joining us for Coffee Talk.